This video is for you if you are looking to try climbing outdoors but don't know where to start. I've spoken to a few gym climbers who are really keen to try out real rock for the first time but don't know how to navigate how to access the outdoors. Do they need their lead pass first? Is there a certain grade they need to climb before they head outside? Questions like these show that there's no one right or wrong way to go about it and that there are many different paths that different climbers take to access the outdoors. Today I'll walk you through a few options in order to get you outside and climbing, particularly focused on sport climbing and bouldering. I'll also run you through a couple of things to keep in mind, some lessons I've learned personally, and I'll also link any extra helpful resources in video or website form in the description box below. I can definitely vouch that it is an amazing experience once you do get outside. Let's talk about the ways in which you can access outdoor climbing. So the first option is to find a mentor, and a mentor is someone that you already know that has experience in climbing outdoors. So this could be someone that you climb regularly with at the gym, this could be like a family friend, this could be a high school friend. It's someone that you already know, so it's an optimistic option, but it would really come in handy if you know someone who has all the knowledge, can lend you the gear, can take you out and show you what a day outside climbing looks like. This is totally dependent on if they're willing to teach you, and if it's someone you know, you can always just ask the question and start the conversation there. This mentor can take you outside, can lend you gear, can show you what a day out climbing looks like and the process that is involved with it. They can run you through the whole setup, you can ask as many questions as you want, and it's a very tailored climbing experience outdoors, and it's based on what you're interested in. So in the past, Nick has taken out some of our friends who've never climbed before. He's also taken out some really keen boulders who are interested in sport climbing, and these trips range in what these people are looking for. So some of our friends who wanted to try climbing for the first time, Nick set up some top ropes for them. They had experience belaying, learning how to read the rock, learning how to climb outside and climb for the first time really, and that's all they wanted to experience. So that was the climbing trip, and they really enjoyed being able to climb outdoors on top rope. Some of our other friends who got really hooked on sport climbing and wanted to learn more were able to learn how to lead climb, how to clean anchors, how to abseil, and further build upon what they were interested in learning. Some of them have now moved on to buying their own equipment, their own gear, and also taken out some of their other friends once they were more experienced and educated to do so. The second option is to join an outdoors club. So an outdoors club is a group of people who love a certain outdoor activity or many, and they kind of join together to create a community that is based around that interest. These clubs can come in two formats, so they can be either like a university club or they can be an outdoors club that's more catered towards the general public. And these clubs create a sort of community, so they create trips that could be anywhere from climbing out in the Blue Mountains for a day, learning how to multi-pitch, learning trad climbing. And joining a club like this allows you to really expose yourself to a climbing community, and you're able to meet both new and expert climbers, and you're really able to make friends and really create a network of people that you can climb with. You do need to pay a membership fee, as this helps keep the costs of administrating, organizing the trips, training all the trip leaders, insurance, and helps the club keep running. Some of these clubs also have a gear cupboard, so you're able to hire out any equipment that you'd like to use on a climbing trip. So this could be anywhere from helmets to belay devices to ropes to climbing shoes, bouldering pads, anything that you really need for a trip outdoors. And I think this comes in handy when you're strapped for cash, and also if you're not willing to invest in buying all the gear before you're committed to climbing outdoors. This really helped me out personally a few years ago when I was starting out climbing, so I would rent out helmets, bouldering pads, anything that I needed that I didn't particularly own, and it allowed me to really focus on learning the climbing outdoors instead of having to worry about having all the gear myself. My very first outdoor bouldering trip was with a club, so at that trip I was able to watch all the experienced climbers climb some crazy boulders at Frontlines, and I was also able to try out a couple of V0, V1 climbs with other new climbers who were trying it out for the first time as well, and it was just a really nice experience and day out overall. I've also been able to experience other outdoor activities because my club does offer other activities, so I've been able to try out canyoning, which is terrifying, should I say. I've been able to try out other sports like hiking and canyoning, which have been an amazing experience. And I think that joining a club will really help you learn all you need for outdoor climbing, but also help you form friendships and join a community. The third option is to book a guide to teach you everything. There are some amazing climbing schools around New South Wales and hopefully somewhere around your area that will have experts and guides that will be able to teach you and take you outdoors. They are more expensive, but these are experts and you're paying to learn all the knowledge that you can from these guides, and they are particularly trained in order to teach you how to climb outdoors. I would say that this option is more focused on sport climbing in particular because there's a lot more processes involved in learning sport climbing outdoors, and you need to learn particular calls, ways to get yourself out if something happens, and just safety measures all around. These guides have so much knowledge and can teach you so much even if you know how to climb outdoors. I've seen some of these guides pop up at the local climbing gyms and teach small little techniques and tricks that you can learn about outdoor climbing. If you ever want to further build upon your climbing knowledge, I would recommend booking in a session, as they are probably like the top tier educators that you want to learn from. If you just want to get started on bouldering and you're not particularly interested in sport climbing, I would still recommend you go with someone who has climbed outdoors before. These are people who know the local areas of where to climb, know how to actively spot, which I'll link a few resources down below on, and will know how to access different types of climb, will know kind of the general etiquette on how to go about these crags. Bouldering mats are super accessible, so the local bouldering gyms around the Sydney areas, most of them allow you to hire out bouldering pads, so you can rock up in the morning, hire some pads out for I think $30 to $50 for the day, and you can split the cost among your friends. That way you definitely have padding to catch you, and it's always a much better feeling when you're bouldering outdoors with a bajillion pads around you than having to kind of skimp around and move around one or two. You also want to ensure that you have a guide handy, or that you or another climber are particularly researched and familiar with the crag that you're going to in terms of access, and are well researched for climbing in that area. Now that you have access to learning and getting outdoors, here are a few things to know about climbing outside overall. Climbing is a totally different ballgame to indoors. It's almost like a separate sport. Be aware that the climbs that you normally climb in your gym are not necessarily the same as the grades that you climb outdoors. There is a little bit of a shock to the system when you can't send the grade that you're comfortable with at the gym, because that's totally normal. You're learning how to read the rock, you're learning how to figure out what rock is good for your feet or your hands or both, and you're trying to read the climb where there's no clear right path on how to climb to the top. So there is a bit of a learning curve in terms of getting adjusted to climbing on real rock. You're climbing outside of a gym, which is a controlled environment, so you're more prone to injury, accidents, and even death. Climbing is a very dangerous sport if you are not aware of all the things that you need to know about it. And it's your responsibility to be alert and safe when it comes to outdoor climbing. And lastly, when you do climb outside, you are representative of what climbing looks like to the general public. So anything you do or behave to a member of the public is essentially what they will take as a perception of a climber. So always ensure that you are representing climbers in the best light possible so that we can continue accessing the outdoors. Moving on to etiquette, or kind of unspoken rules when it comes to outdoor climbing. It's a good habit to say hi or hello to any people that you pass by at the crag. Climbers are a very friendly bunch, indoor or outdoor, and we're always willing to have a chat. Most of the time, actually, when you do go climbing outdoors, especially in the Sydney area, you'll kind of meet and spot familiar faces around the crag, so it's definitely a closed community. It's just a good notion to say hi to everyone that you come across at the crag anyway, so that you're aware of who's there. The most important thing is to check that access is available at your certain crag. So recently there have been some climbing areas that have been closed due to First Nation significance, and we have to be mindful as climbers and respect that those climbing areas are closed. There's definitely many areas that are still open to climbers, so it's all about being respectful to the owners and not climb in those areas. We also need to respect the rock. You should bring a brush to clean off any tick marks or chalk that you leave on the rock when you are projecting or working on it. Do not use liquid chalk, as some brands contain a certain ingredient that will actually erode the rock, which is not what we want at all. Also, most of the rock that you come across in Australia is sandstone, and sandstone is prone to breakage, especially after rain. So there's a general consensus of not climbing on sandstone after a heavy rainstorm or a thunderstorm, as it is a danger to the climb where the rock can break off, and also a danger to yourself. Some crags, especially around New South Wales, are hidden behind bushland, so you actually are required to park on suburban streets, and this can be a nuisance to neighbours if you are parking back to back. I've seen people park on people's front lawns, I've seen people park in driveways, and it just gives a general bad name to climbers. Alternatively, consider parking a little bit further away. Most of these streets have all day parking, and there's plenty of parking just up the road around a corner, and just walk down with all your gear to the crag. Another thing to keep in mind is to keep the noise down at the crag, so don't blast your music. If you do want to play music around, check with all the climbers that are around the area to see if that's okay with them, and also just keep the noise down in general, particularly in sport climbing. If there's a lot of noise, it can get in the way of certain calls that a belayer makes to their climber, and that can be a very dangerous situation if they can't hear each other and have clear communication. And last but not least is the leave no trace rule. So you take everything out with you that you brought in, and you leave no rubbish or any sort of remnants that you were there in the first place, and that will really help preserve the climbing area and the crag for many years to come. So I'm going to run you through the things that I have personally learnt from climbing outdoors. These are some tips that hopefully will save you time from having to learn it the hard way that I did. So let's go through them. First one is to always bring a head torch. Even if you're not planning to go night climbing, sometimes things go wrong, like multi-pitches, and you are stuck past sundown and you need light to see to get you out of the crag. Always bring a head torch with you. It's something that I always pack with me regardless how long we're climbing, just in case we get stuck after sundown. It's also really good practice to bring a first aid kit with you, all the water that you need, as well as a chalk brush in order to clean off all the chalk that you leave on the rock. It's good practice to wear a helmet when you go sport climbing outdoors, as it's the easiest way to prevent yourself from cracking your head open. The best way to wear your helmet is to find a helmet that you love and find comfortable wearing. So it's always great to go into a climbing store and just try on all the different helmets, figure out what style you like, so you'll be able to wear it on the wall all the time. Bring your food on a day out climbing. I learned this the hard way on my first day out bouldering. I only bought a muesli bar, so I was starving that whole day because I thought we would finish at lunchtime, but we went for the whole day from 9 to 5, and I got pretty hungry. So always bring a lot of snacks, a lot of food, as there's kind of no stops in between for you to get food. In some outdoor areas, reception can be pretty crap. Always tell someone where you're going for the day, just in case something goes wrong and they need to fetch you or save you, or let someone know, or notify emergency services if something has gone wrong. It's good to be prepared just in case the worst happens. On Facebook, there are a couple of climbing groups that are solely based on looking for a belay. So if you're looking for a climbing partner, whether it's indoors at the gym or outdoors, you can definitely join those groups to start chatting to climbers that you may climb with in the future. And last but not least, make sure that you trust the people that you go climbing with, as these are the people who will be belaying you or spotting you when you fall. So you need to have 100% trust that they will catch you and break your fall. The last thing you want to do is to be climbing super tense, worried if your climber is going to catch you or not, or if you're going to get injured. It's just energy that you don't want to waste on that thought. And that is all for the video today. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions or advice or anything you'd like to add to this video, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!